Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining me for another Chen style Tai Chi class. I always think I have everything perfect, and then I start the recording and go, oh, yes, we need to adjust. Okay, let's take right hand in fist, please. Left hand straight and pull back that thumb. Feet together, hands together, and we salute. Xue Sang Hao. Lovely. Let's relax the arms down and open our stance. And we'll just do a few wee rotations. We were catching up, so we're starting a little later than normal. Before we started the recording, I was mentioning CBD oil. That's cannabinoid oil. So it is from the plant, the hemp plant, yes, marijuana does come from it, but hemp is a very useful plant and is used in many ways. Shopping bags and ropes are made of hemp, and CBD oil is also made of hemp, and it is amazing. It does not have those qualities that make you high or in any way trippy. But it is very, very useful for arthritis and pain management, specifically arthritic pain management. In my experience, I've been using it quite sparingly, but every few days, and I have not used it for, I think, at least 3 days now, and wow, my hips are still nice and silky smooth. I was expecting them to be clunky again. So it is actually recommended, if you do feel benefits from it, that you take it every day to build it up in the system. But yeah, I forget, and also I'm watching the pennies, so every few days still seems to have really good results. My hips have been incredibly stiff and sore recently, and yet, oh, this feels lovely. Good, so let's change direction, please. That's only if you have arthritis, of course, but certainly in this country, it's very common to have rheumatoid arthritis, inflammation issues. I think it's down to basically the weather, that it's just so wet so much of the time. It can cause such, or exacerbate such conditions. Tai Chi, of course, helps a lot, but we look at things in a holistic way when we practice Tai Chi. So that means we look at the diet, we look at our sleep, we look at our behavior through our life, and always work towards bringing everything into harmony. Good, very nice. Okay, so now we're going to do the same exercise, but using the horizontal plane. So we're no longer spiraling the head and tail. We're just moving the whole body. Now, recently one of our members has had a knee replacement, and you might be thinking, well, what are the best exercises for knee replacements, or whatever condition you may be working with? And though there may be excellent specific exercises, these first two exercises are very useful general exercises for the whole body. So if there's any part of the body that's complaining, these may well be perfect for you. So I would definitely encourage you to use this for knee replacement. So it is activating the entire system. It's activating your core, and you'll feel it. It is activating the leg muscles and the joints, and it is sending movement and spiral through them, but it's not focusing on them. So it's a very nice, gentle way to mobilize, strengthen, and bathe the structures in energy without going straight into a very focused homing in on the joint or the area specifically, which could actually be quite traumatic for a newly operated on system. So this is a very, very useful one, and it will help to address any secondary or indeed any tertiary injuries caused by compensating and trying to protect an injured area. So what are we looking for in this exercise? Well, I want you to keep your feet planted. Don't let them roll. And as you're moving, you will feel that the weight is gently massaging your feet. It's shifting across your feet. Good, let's change direction. So you can connect from your center to your feet as you do this exercise. And that will help you to regulate the size of the movement so that you're not bowing out past your feet. But once you've got that connection, you've felt into your feet, you can return your awareness into the dantian, into the hip area. All movement in Tai Chi comes from center. That's the idea. And I don't want you to think of that as I did initially as a new practitioner. I thought, okay, all movement comes from center, yep, like an academic sort of concept. No, it is a true description of what we're doing in Tai Chi. So if you want to move, don't think of pushing your hips. Think of driving the movement from the very center of your body. Feel the center move. Of course, in this movement, your center is actually moving a little bit. But of course, the further you go from the center, the more obvious the move becomes. Just like a wheel, the rim of the wheel is obvious. The center of the wheel turning is very subtle. So it's a small movement, but that's where the movement is originating from. It's always here. Good, okay, so let's take the weight into one foot. See how you get on with this. As I say, if you've just had any operations or if you have an injury, you may want to use a platform, maybe a chair in front of you or beside you, a countertop, something to just help a little bit with stability, a little bit of reassurance. You can even use your hands on an invisible countertop, which can actually give you some reassurance as well. And we want to gently think of spiraling down through the leg. Now I'm going quite fast. If I slowed it down, you can see that I'm just sending a little spiral. But where does the spiral start? It starts here. It starts from your center again. And you're sending it down through the leg into the feet. Now notice how little I'm moving my ankle. Hardly at all. It is moving, it is circling, but I'm not doing these big extensions. I'm not trying to stretch the ankle out as much as I can, but rather just allowing the spiral, the energetic momentum to go through the joint. Good. Can we change direction, please? Go in the other direction and breathe. Now, this means that you're doing a one-legged practice. The other leg is taking the weight. You can keep the tip of the toe to the floor. If you absolutely have to, you can put the balls of the foot to the floor, and that will give you some security as well. Good, and a little shake out. Let's do the same thing to the other side. Try to keep those hips level. Don't let them lift. That will knock you off balance. Keep the hips level. Good, and again, I'm slowing it down just so that you can see it is a spiral. We're drawing a circle with the leg. It's starting from here, but I'm not doing a funny little belly movement. No, it's driven from here. So think of the point of a compass. It seems to be still, but it is rotating. It's rotating on its point, and as the movement flows down the leg, it becomes more apparent. Good, let's change direction. Take your time, you can do it slowly if you like. And a really good nugget of advice is you can do this seated. A high stool would be very useful. I had a lady in class the other day on crutches, and she could do some standing, but not very much. So I got her a swivel stool to sit on in class, and that was perfect because it gave her a feeling of freedom, but also it could support her shaking out. So the likes of maybe a breakfast bar stool, something like that, could be very, very useful. Don't think you have to do your Tai Chi standing. You don't. You can do it seated. There is armchair Tai Chi. There is wheelchair Tai Chi. In fact, you can do some Tai Chi lying in your bed. So there's always something you can do. Let's open our stance. Just go as far as you can comfortably. It's not as big as you can, but about maybe 1.5 to 2 of our normal horse stance. So twice hip width is enough. 2.5 is as much as you would go, really. Okay, so let's sit down into the stance, release the tailbone down, and now we're doing this little ripple movement. I don't want to say figure of 8 because it's really that one hip does a circle round, and before it has completed the circle, the other hip joins in. So it's the equivalent of this, you know, but we're doing it on the horizontal line. So we circle forwards and release. Think of one hip just doing a little circle, and the other hip will have to join in because they're joined together. Good. This exercise is really to build martial strength. So, you know, the more vigorous you want to be, the wider and the deeper you can do it. Again, with my stiff little hips, or stiff big hips, I find that quite difficult, quite challenging, but it's not about knocking yourself sideways trying to do this, just getting nice and free and easy. And building a bit of strength, building a bit of stamina. Good. And let's do the other side. If you can do 10, do 10. If you can do 20, do 20. If you can do 30 on each side, do 30. It's not about box ticking, it's just about doing what you can. Good, very nice, well done. Let's come up. Ease from the stance. Now, throughout your Tai Chi practice, we do every single step on a slight bend of the knee, or quite a big bend. And when I say bend, a softening, it's, you know, it's not straight. So in order to balance that out in our system, so that we're not shortening the muscles up the back of the leg, we incorporate a leg stretch, a knee stretch into this exercise. However, say if you've just had a knee operation, you may not be wanting to push your leg backwards. You know, you may not be wanting to really force it. And actually, when Grandmaster Chen is teaching, now, I wasn't there at the class, but one of my colleagues in Germany was, and she was saying that not everybody could do this, you know, with the leg back. So for those who couldn't, Grandmaster Chen had them keeping their knee slightly bent and taking the hand to just above the knee. And as we were stretching, he would press into the leg and feel the pressure going into the sole of the foot, into what we call the bubbling well, which is there. You see what I mean? It's sort of between the metatarsals. So the metatarsal arch, the sort of center of the foot. So if it is painful, or indeed if it's just scary, Or if you have been warned not to put pressure on the knee, this is a safe way to still go through the motions of this exercise where you can slowly build confidence. So slowly you could go from here to, over the course of weeks or months, you could go to here. You see what I mean? So you can still do this exercise. I encourage you to still do it. Apart from anything else, it reminds you that it's important to do a leg stretch, but you do it at the level that is appropriate for your own recovery or your own trajectory within the practice. Okay, so let us try. Again, if you need to, you can have a countertop, you can have a chair, back, something to hold on to. So we're going to kick the foot out and step down. Now the reason for that is it gives you the appropriate width. So it's less wide than we would often go if we're doing a Tai Chi step. So this is to do with alignment. It's keeping the, you see that everything's in a column. So it's a wee bit narrower than normal, but it's still not, you know, one foot in front of the other. There's a wee bit of width. So let's go forwards and back a few times just to warm. I hope your space is comfortably warm, because it's much easier to move the body when it's not freezing. Good, and we're going to feed the weight back and slide the hands down to just above the knee. Now you choose, is it comfortable to bring it all the way straight? If not, that's okay, you can keep a little bend. We're going to press into the leg with the hands a little bit, and if the knee is slightly bent, then you can feel the way down into the foot and feel the pressure of your palms pressing into the leg, into the floor. But if you can go completely straight, feel the gentle pressure extending the muscles. Keep breathing. Good. Now, if you can, pull your toes back. Again, if you can comfortably, you can take hold with the same side, hand to foot. If that's uncomfortable or impossible, just keep the hands to the knee. And sometimes I lose my balance and I just take the hand to the floor like that, just to stabilize. Good. Foot down, feed the weight forwards, and up you come. And just a note of interest, I found for years I would get a sore knee at the back coming up, and I realized that my knee was actually pushing out a little bit as I did the exercise. So I noticed that and then allowed my knee to feel like it was rolling in, the back knee, rather than pushing out like that. Because the back foot is parallel, so the knee should be pointing forwards, not out. So as soon as I did that, as soon as I allowed my knee to feel like it was rolling in, it was actually just staying in line, the pain went. So quite often if we are in pain, it's because we're doing something wrong. Now, if you have historically done something wrong for a lot, or if you just had a weakness that was annoyed by a fall or whatever, then pain occurs. But when you listen to your body as you practice, and if it hurts, you adapt, you adjust, you change what you're doing. Because if you don't change what you're doing, you will continue to get the same outcome. And if the outcome is pain, you will continue to get pain. And if that keeps going, you could end up injuring yourself. So we have to differentiate between historical pain and pain that we're causing through incorrect practice, through deviation. If it's historical pain, we still must do the same thing of adapting our practice until we find the best comfortable experience within the practice. And that means that we're not exacerbating an old problem. Okay, so let's do it on the other side, please. Ready? We kick it out, we step it down, the feet are parallel. Let's do a few forwards and backward moves. Again, please go at your own pace. If the stretch is just too much, then leave it out. You can just watch, absorb for future reference. Good. Are we ready? So we feed the weight back. Don't let the back knee stick out. Bring the hands to just above the knee. If the knee has to bend, that's okay. As you press into the leg, then feel the pressure down into the floor. If you can get the knee back, feel the stretch. Keep the spine nice and straight. Keep breathing. Good, and release. Pull those toes back and take hold, if you can, and continue. Good, foot down, weight forward, up you come. Lovely. Now some exercises in Tai Chi will send you into this lovely feeling of, I don't know, bliss or peace or whatever. And some exercises will feel like a child being forced to eat broccoli. Broccoli's lovely, isn't it? But yeah, you know what I mean. And that exercise that we've just done was always my broccoli. I don't know why. As I say, I'm hypermobile, I'm hyperflexible, stretching is no problem, but that exercise is hard work. But I do it because it's good for us. Just like broccoli is good for the child. You can't just live on sweets and crisps. We need to make sure those muscles are stretched. But there are other ways of doing it. If it absolutely grinds your beans, if you just don't like it, there's other ways of stretching those muscles. So we'll look at those maybe next week, because I'd like to get into some form. So we're just going to do a couple of seconds of standing, please. Oh, we'll go a wee bit wide, not very deep, but we'll do a wee bit of width and a few rotations just to nod to the Chen training. Good, give that liver a bit of a thump and the small of the back. Good, and come up a wee bit higher, and now soft as water, gently rotate. Good, let's gently return to center. We're going to keep our feet open. So we're not we're not being very close to the Chen training. You should start Wuji with your feet together, but we're just going to give a little nod to Wuji. Lengthen up through the top of the head, the chin slightly down. Let your body release and hang. Calm down. Listen behind. Let's see if we can get into our standing position for a moment in time to remind ourselves to try and do some every day. Let's feed the hands forwards, float up, and to about level with solar plexus. Try to take moments in your day to stand quiet and still, just listening, feeling, and letting go. Returning to that Lao Jia, letting go into the oneness, the quiet, calm stillness that is always there inside you. If we just let go of the noise for a few moments, we find it. Let's lower the hands gently down. Good. Now, just before we close, if you look at me at the moment, I'm wearing flared leggings, so it kind of looks like my knees are knocked anyway. And it does, I've looked on the screen and it kind of looks like I'm knock-kneed no matter what my knees are doing wearing these trousers. However, I am actually slightly knock-kneed in this practice, deliberately so. And that is a correction that I've been given over the last few years with Master Chen. He'll come up to us and he'll kind of do this and help us to slightly roll the knees in. And that might seem strange because we're always talking about the knees in line with the feet and, you know, not putting pressure on one side or the other. But he explained it quite clearly in training that if we slightly roll in, so we're releasing rolling in, that allows energy to flow effortlessly down through the qua, the pelvic cavity, that crease, if you like, of the leg. Whereas if the knees are absolutely straight, or what tends to happen in standing practice quite naturally is our energy expands and before you know it, the knees are bowing out. And so that happens quite naturally with pung, with the expansion of energy. But as the knees go out, it will not allow the muscles of the rump, if you like, the bottom and that area and the hip to relax. They can't. They cannot relax if the knees are pushing out at all. So he said actually it's a much safer and better technique to allow your legs to slightly roll in because that allows the energy to flow between your body and your legs. So you'll actually find with your knees slightly rolled in, energetically you build a lot quicker, a lot stronger, and everything flows a lot better. So it's a slight roll in, but actually I noticed standing with him that I felt this kind of force field, this sort of bubble of energy between my two legs. And I had read about that over the years, but I had never experienced it. So you know that feeling between your hands sometimes when you're in hug ball, you feel a force field or a bubble between your hands. Well, I felt it between my legs as well. And that has never happened when my knees have been absolutely straight, or indeed as often it happened, just like in my leg stretch, the knees would naturally blow out because the energy was expanding. So a slight feeling of rolling in, not by doing this, but releasing and relaxing. And it will actually help your knees as well. It'll help all the structures if the energy can flow. Please don't force any of this, but very gently, if you think of releasing inwards a little bit with your knees, you may well notice a great difference. Of course, as I say, if you're just after knee surgery, go lightly, go gently, do a little bit, see how you feel. Play it by ear, keep listening and tuning in to your own system. But I was not the only one who got this correction. Willem got it regularly. Roisin got it for the last few years as well. And we were all going, really? Really? You know, we felt like we were doing this in standing. But of course it was much more subtle. All right. Okay. Is there a question? No? Okay, good, good. All right. So let us now, we'll go through the form. I'm not sure if we'll get the whole form, but with 15 minutes, I think we'll manage it, but we'll go nice and gently. So pace yourself, please. We'll just walk through the form. See if you remember it after the Christmas holidays. Okay, ready? Over to the right. Let's lengthen up. And relax down. Find all 10 fingers, press them down. And we begin. Sorry, my mistake. This way. High pat on horse. Good. Relax to center. Kicking section. Gently does it. And step left, gather. Kick right. And turn. Prepare. And punch. Good. And we're going to finish there. That's half the form. Well done. With 5 minutes left, but it's a good start. I don't want to force the matter, and half the form is a good beginning. Let's warm down, please, everyone. Gently turn. I can hear there must be I don't know, the shipbuilding, Harlington Wolves maybe. Down in Belfast you can hear they're pummeling metal. All you can hear is thump, 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 thump. Even though it's quite far away, you can hear it travelling up the valley. Sure, you can't hear it on the recording, that's good. Gently does it. Good, so how did your legs fare? How did your body memory fare? Hopefully it was quite natural for you. Often people come up to me after class, after holidays, and say, do you know, I thought I would have forgotten a lot more. That actually came back to me. It does. It's a funny thing. If you are present as you practice, every time you go back into your practice, it'll feel like no time has passed. You know that way when you meet someone once a week, and each time you feel like, oh gosh, it feels like we just said goodbye and here we are again. You go back into that state, into that memory, especially with repetition and mindfulness. If you do your standing practice to get you nice and peaceful and quiet, give everything a wee thump. Even if it has just been operated on, be gentle, but just give it a little bit of a hello, hello, how are you? Good. So it doesn't have to be thumping it hard. It can just be a little touch. Good. All the way down. Where we touch, guides the awareness. Where the awareness goes, the energy follows. Where the energy goes, the strength follows. So folks, if you find that there's part of your body that needs love and attention, but it's too tender to touch, or maybe there's broken skin, or an infection, maybe it's just not a good idea to touch it at the time, shake out. You can still use that principle by, let's try it, rub hands. And wherever it is, let's pick a knee, for example, wherever it is, you just surround it. There's my phone saying, stop teaching to you. Surround it with your hands. So you're not actually touching, but you're just holding a ball of energy, basically, around the area. Focusing and breathing and relaxing into that area, and you will find that it is being bathed in energy. So if you can't physically touch it, then don't. Then you can just hover and feel. Good. Okay, folks, let us finish. Thank you so much. Well done for today, and I look forward to seeing you. And again, wishing you a very happy new year. I look forward to training with you through this year. Well done. Thank you.